30 p.m. on Wednesday, October 14, 2015, at City Hall, 6333 Ridge Road, Port Richey, here in council chambers. Would you please stand for the invocation from the Reverend Sandy Spalding, Chapel of Divine Spirit, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear God, our divine spirit, creator of all there is and ever shall be, we ask you to shine down upon us this evening, guiding our council and all the residents together as one unit. We ask that our council make the finest decision for the highest good of our city and our residents. We ask that you grant our city extra blessings, because we need them. We thank thee. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Reverend Spalding. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Acting Mayor Bill Colombo.
Here.
Councilman Steve O'Neill.
Here.
Please let the record show that Councilwoman Britton is absent this evening. Councilman Terrence Rowe.
Here.
Interim Councilwoman Phyllis Gray.
Present.
City Attorney Joseph Pavlik.
Here.
And City Manager Tom O'Neill.
Here.
Okay, first up, approval of council minutes. City Council meeting minutes of September 22nd, 2015. City Council budget hearing minutes of September 24th, 2015. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Do I have a second? We can do a second and then have a discussion or
Yes,
change.
I'm waiting. Yes, we said second.
Oh, second,
I was
okay.
waiting.
All right, okay, so we have a motion and a second. Anybody have any adds or changes or?
Yes.
Okay,
On page 4 of the comments from acting mayor and city council, where I was quoted as saying, thank you to those people who attended the 9/11 memorial, the way this reads, it almost implies that I did not or was not sensitive to the fact that some people do have a job and were not able to attend, and that didn't mean that everybody in City Hall, it was those people who were invited and certainly the members of council. I think, we have to understand that people do have a job and they can't get off. And I didn't want to almost look like I was criticizing the fact that some members of council were not there. That's my only comment.
Sure.
Thank you.
I will change that to reflect that, ma'am.
Appreciate that.
all right. Any other changes, additions, or deletions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Announcements, Mr. City Manager?
None at this time.
Mr. City Attorney?
I have nothing this evening, sir.
You've got nothing, huh? Okay.
Nothing.
Excuse me. Comments from the general public. I have Bob Breedlove signed up.
I didn't change my name. I didn't wonder. Good evening, Bob Breedlove, 5143 Limestone, former candidate for mayor. I'm up here tonight to thank all of you, all the city, all of the people who were involved in the last election. It was a good run. We got out 26% of the vote, which for an off election year seems pretty good. I think we should all count it as a victory that we had such a good turnout. I do want to thank my opponents for keeping things more or less out of the ditch. We had a good run, and I want to congratulate them for their successes as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
Thomas Brown. Got it.
Thomas Brown, 7436 Candlelight Court. First of all, I would like to say congratulations to Dale Massad on his winning of the mayor election. I'm sorry that Bob and Kathy could not have won it too. I have heard all three speak. I have read their campaign literature, and I did vote for one of the three of you. That's a lot more than a majority of the eligible voters did. I am still gathering evidence to prove even further that Lake Cox is a naturally formed body of water, but the additional proof has not arrived. in this city, 2 or 3 forms of proof are not enough if the city manager has a differing opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mhm.
Mark Abbott, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mark Abbott, 7907 Washington Street, the low-tax city of Port Richey. When you're working an election, you see things around town. Of course, this is an ongoing problem, but basically 50% of the lights are out on US 19, so the next person that hits a bomb and they've had a drink, they'll probably be going to both the funeral home and the jail. So we probably should fix that within the next 5 years. It's been
Can
going on
I
really
ask a
forever.
question? Are you referring to the streetlights?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll take care of it.
It's been going on forever, we know that. These are not the GFI circuit ones, these are the old ones from the US 19 bridge to almost Ridge Road on the east side, not the GFI ones. As you're walking around holding signs, I notice there's a lot of little loose boxes in the pie section of Grand Boulevard 19 where the bums can fall in the holes there. That's the covers for the sprinkler systems and stuff. We might want to secure them boxes.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand you.
Yeah, where we have sprinkler systems to take care of the trees and the shrubs at US 19 and Grand Boulevard. They have green
Okay.
boxes on
Okay.
top. Those lids are all either broken or loose. Somebody will fall in a hole and sue you. And then 3, I think it was a decent campaign with a big surprise in the end. The fact that I'm the one that got sued more times than anybody else here in this town under election law. If we could ever go back, and I'm addressing you, Tom, as well, because we sat down and talked about it last election. And I talked to the other candidates, and this goes to all the candidates, I'm not picking on anybody, but Grand Boulevard 19 has every election sign, which is public property, which the way we used to do it in the old days was code enforcement would go and pull up all the signs that were on public property, bring them to City Hall, and then the candidates were called and they could pick up their signs. But you have lots of volunteers working the campaigns. Obviously, there's those that know and those that don't, but in the future, maybe we can run a fairer campaign by having everybody on the same page instead of everybody suing each other. I'm assuming Phyllis isn't suing anybody this time or anybody else, but at least, you know, we should have fair campaigns by at least following the rules. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? All right, I'll bring it back up to council. Comments?
Terry can start.
Well,
Like watching a ping
I
pong
want to
ball.
thank the candidates. It takes a certain amount of courage and a lot of dedication to run for an office, big or small. And it's a lot of time that you donate, and for a long time I was beginning to wonder if we were going to have people to be able to follow us. The job needs to be done. And we've seen people step up and take the challenge, and I want to congratulate the winners, and I want to thank those that participated, because it is a great thing to be willing to give of yourself for your city. I guess that's about all I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I will, you know, thank those that ran as well. Terry's right, it takes a certain person to be able to do that. I think we're gonna come out of the gate strong with a lot of things that we need to cover, and a lot of, I'll just add some of the information I hope to confirm as well. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and quite frankly, I'm hoping to clear some of that up in the weeks that come. I think people need to know exactly what some of these numbers are, et cetera. And let's face it, we don't have a lot of folks that come to the meetings, but doesn't mean that they're not misinformed. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gray?
We're on the topic of the election. At least that's on everybody's mind the day after. There was a comment, and I know that we amended our code where we said that in the event of a vacancy, as in the case of the late Mayor Taylor, and that's what brought us to this special election to begin with. I just wondered how much it costs the city to have a special election, and whether or not perhaps the Charter Committee, the Charter Committee could possibly revisit that portion where it says that you must appoint immediately. Well, immediately in this case took us about 6 weeks, so that's another gone. But I think the way it used to be, and I hate to have the used to be, having lived through it all. In the case of Dr. Massad, when he was appointed, because there was a vacancy, and then he was appointed, I believe, in August, and I was appointed in September. And we were seated until we had an election in April. We didn't have a special election. And I think it, in my opinion, it worked well, and it didn't cost us any money because it was part of a regular election. And I just wondered if I'm not going to be sitting here anymore, I'll be out there. But I wanted to bring that to the attention of council, and maybe it's something that we can look into financially. It may be only $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000. I don't know what it costs the city to have a special election. But, you know, when you're watching the budget closely, every little bit certainly is a savings. And perhaps council would consider going back to the way it used to be.
Thank you. I want to, basically echo the sentiments as everybody has expressed on council. Congratulations to the winner, and, well done to the challengers. It takes a special amount of energy and just effort. It's unbelievable to run a campaign in a little city like this. You don't know how much those guys walk around and work on these things. So it's always good to see people willing to participate. Like to get a little more participation into our boards and committees too while we're at it. So that's all I have to say as far as comments goes. We'll move on to the agenda. First item up is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. We have a first and a second. We have any discussion on any of these items? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Move on to council business. Item number 2, Pasco County Law Enforcement Mutual Aid Agreement and SNAP Memorandum of Understanding. So that's item number 2 on page 13.
I'm going to defer to Chief Lovegreen to
Okay,
provide
very
some
good.
introductory comments on this.
Thank you. Both of these agreements are yearly renewable agreements that allow us to work with other agencies within Pasco County. This will allow us on the MOU allows us to exit our jurisdiction and still do police-related matters and work at any time during emergencies, traffic crashes, or anything without having to make phone calls and stuff. It's a very common thing that goes on with all agencies. The SNAP program is a street narcotics apprehension program that the county is the lead in it. And again, it is just that there are certain little standards that are set out for street level narcotics. They are the head of the group. We do not participate by giving a body to the group. How we participate is we sign away the couple of $1,000s that is the grant money to them, and they do operations for us. And that's basically it.
Any questions from council on this item? No? Nobody signed up for it. It's a standard agreement. We've done it time and time again, so
Yes.
I look for a motion on this.
So
Motion.
moved. I'm sorry.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we got a first and a second. Any more discussion? No? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Motion's passed. Oh, number 3.
32.
That would be the police department impound vehicles to be declared as surplus for auction.
Yes, thank you. This is a request to the city council to have the vehicles that are listed on page 34 declared surplus and sent to the Tampa Machinery Auction. Our experience with the Tampa Machinery Auction has been good, and we believe that is the best way to auction these vehicles off. And this matter is in conformance with the surplusing of the vehicles that is required under the city code. We're recommending approval of this.
Okay. Comments from council?
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Terry?
Chief, I want to ask this because it's been brought up and I'm sure we're doing it, but we are notifying the owners of these vehicles and giving them an opportunity to reobtain their vehicles.
These are actual police department vehicles, aren't they, sir?
No, sir. No, these are impounded vehicles, and yes, sir,
impounded.
we have notified them. We gave them the option to come in and pay the fine. We actually, at one point, gave them a waiver to lower the fees to even come in and take their cars back, and they elected not to.
Okay.
I just did that for clarification because I know
Sure.
it's come up. People thought it wasn't being done.
Well, I don't know if the online process is still going on, the gov.com or whatever, as far as clearing vehicles.
We have used them 2 times ago. We now use machinery auction. The Gov deals worked for us, but it was a much more tedious operation on our side, what we had to do for those vehicles.
But how was it, I guess city manager, I'll come back to you, profitability-wise?
Well, it's hard to say. We think our financial experience with the Tampa Machinery Auction is excellent. The thing that I would tell you is our last experience with Gov Deals is we had a number of vehicles that did not sell. And so then, we sent them down to the Tampa Machinery Auction, and they always sell. There's a lot of exposure at the Tampa Machinery Auction, and the experience has been excellent. I've dealt with them for decades, and it's the way that most of the jurisdictions get rid of their surplus vehicles.
Okay.
Was fairly recent, we engaged in a new process, and along Bill's question is there a point that there's a report given that kind of signifies to us, yeah, this is what we've had for the year. I don't even know if we're at, I can't remember exactly right when we started it, but I know there's been, some long lists of vehicles, and maybe at some point, from a financial standpoint,
Well, I
we probably
think-
would have those numbers.
I would think that long list was stacked up over a long period
Yeah.
of time.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a report by vehicle of what we got for them, or if that's something you.
There is, and we can provide you with that.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if it was yearly or semi-annual kind of report or something.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Okay, that's all I have.
Any other comment on council? Okay. All righty. Do we have a motion to approve? Nodding
So
doesn't help.
moved.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Very good, thank you. Any more discussion? That's about it, I think.
When I used it as so moved.
All right.
Well, she was nodding first,
Yeah.
and he was nodding. I had 2 of them
Yeah.
nodding, and I'm like,
Well, Not a
sync
Tammy
over
can't
here.
read the nods over there. Yeah, oh, you can do
We-
better than me, yeah.
We kind of have our eye contact.
I see that. I
There you
see
go.
that. No eye contact going on. Okay. A motion to approve and a motion to second has been made. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against, nay? None. Okay. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 4, utility department vehicle to be declared as surplus. Mr. City Manager, sir?
Yes, pretty much the same story with regard to surplusing of vehicles. It is required that the council review the matter and approve of the disposition method for surplus equipment. This particular truck served on the utility department for a number of years. It is a 2004. The mileage is not available. It does not run, and it's in extremely poor condition. It has been replaced. So once again, this is an item that we anticipate the highest price for the sale of the vehicle to be secured through the Tampa Machinery Auction. We're requesting your permission to declare it surplus and auctioned at the Tampa Machinery Auction in a public auction, and we're recommending approval of that.
Okay, discussion? Anybody? No? No discussion? No discussion? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the
Second.
mentioned utility department vehicle as surplus to be auctioned off at the Tampa Bay Machinery Auction.
Okay. Second? Second. Okay. We have a first and a second. I don't think, is there any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Nay? Okay, it passes unanimous. Item number 5, Mr. City Manager.
Yes.
Mr. Boblik, or whoever I should go to on this.
Well, I'll just make a few brief comments, and then either Joe Pavlik or Brian Koji. We anticipated Mr. Koji making a presentation and review to the council. This is a settlement agreement that has been negotiated in the Palumbo versus City of Port Richey litigation. The agreement has been reviewed by the city attorney. We were in negotiations for several months on this, and Mr. Koji is here. He is the attorney that works with Allen Norton and Blue through Public Risk Management on the city's behalf. So I would defer to Mr. Koji for some additional comments.
Thank you. Good evening. Yeah, this case is Mr. Palumbo is a former employee of the city. He brought a lawsuit several months ago, and he, in essence, claimed that the city engaged in negligence by failing to notify him of his right to convert his FRS pension from the traditional pension plan into the investment plan. What essentially happened is he wanted to convert. To do that under the state statute, you have to do that while you are a current employee being paid. He separated as part of his workers' comp resolution last year, and he forgot or didn't convert the plan from the pension plan to the investment plan until afterwards. FRS rejected that, and he came back and said, well, you, the city, should have notified us, so sued us under a theory of negligence. We've been engaged for a few months in discovery. We vigorously deny the claims. I think it's pretty clear under the facts that the city did what it's supposed to do. He was notified of the option to convert, of the deadlines. Nonetheless, we've worked out a settlement in this case because he can still convert if he reobtains his employment. So the agreement you have in your package in front of you, what we've been able to work out is we will reinstate him for 2 days. He irrevocably resigns at the end of the 2 days, can't reapply in the future, and he pays us. He pays us for attorney's fees, $12,500. We're the defendant. I can tell you it's not very common that the defendant gets reimbursed any money. Usually we're up here saying pay something to make it go away. In this case, they're paying us some of our fees. We get out of that. We get a general release. He can't sue us, dismiss the lawsuit. He, during those 2 days, submits the form to FRS to convert his pension plan. We think this is a good settlement. Should get it resolved. We think we'd prevail if we went forward, but it's going to cost a lot of money that you will not get back. So we have this avenue to try and resolve it, and we would recommend you do so. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Do you have anything to add? Oh, I'm sorry, do you have anything to add, Mr. Pavlik?
I don't have anything to add. I've worked with Brian on this, I've reviewed the agreement, and I recommend approval.
Okay. Okay, comments from council or questions from council for Mr. Koji?
I think he summed it up that in this particular situation, this would be
This is
best for us, so it's the best you can do.
How many years was Mr. Palumbo employed with the city?
21.
21?
Any other questions? Well, we are looking for action requesting council to consider the approval of the attached settlement regarding the Palumbo versus City of Port Richey matter. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second, okay, we have a first, we have a second. Any more discussion? Do we need to go out to public for this? Is there anybody in public, wants to speak on it? Usually I see somebody wanting to speak on it, but, no? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, that's all the business before this council. Yeah.
Mr. Acting Mayor, before we close,
Sure, sure.
it's
I
when you're ready.
didn't, you noticed I didn't jump in this time.
Right, that's fine. I just wanted to say to council and to the people that this is my last council meeting where I will be in person. I cannot be at the swearing in on Monday night. Do not want anyone to read into that. We, and I say collectively we, because Mr. O'Neill and I have a master board meeting at Sand Pebble. I being president and Steve being vice president. So it kind of leaves them in limbo unless, the secretary steps up. I have no idea. But I will be at the Sand Pebble meeting. I will not speak for Mr. O'Neill here. But I did want to say to council, and certainly to the people, serving the city is an honor. And I hope everybody remembers that. It's an honor and it's a privilege to serve the city. I have been doing it in one way or another, mostly in one way, since 1995. I have lived through 2 times where the city was almost put down, and we fought very, very hard to keep it. I did so because I love being a small city. I chose to come here to live. I like my police department. I like my fire department. I like waving to everybody as you are on the streets. And just want to remind council that nowadays you sit and you have a few people in the audience. Some are very interested and do get up and speak. Gone are the days, and fortunately, gone are the days when we had wall-to-wall people lining the walls, literally lining the walls. Former Mayor Abbott was here, and I think he can remember those nights. I sat on council. There were times, because I was so in the minority, I was on a 5-4 council, that I enjoyed the comments and the positive statements that came from the people and the feeling that I got from council itself. There were more times than I personally remember being insulted, and we did have to endure those nights and sit here and let people throw whatever they wanted, their verbal barbs. We don't have any snowballs in Florida. And we managed to sit through it. And you walk out, and we would not agree on council, but you'd walk out and say, you want to go over and get an ice cream or whatever. And that's what we're here now doing, and I appreciate that. We don't have negative comments, and we don't even have it from the people. And that is something that this council, up until today, has given to the city of Port Ritchie. And I thank the people, I thank everyone on council. I have 2 requests, and if you don't hear them tonight, you're going to hear them when I'm sitting out there. I mentioned last meeting or the meeting before, I don't quite remember, about what we thought about putting a sign outside City Hall, like a sign like Culver's has, flavor of the day, boom, 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 boom. If we could just raise that sign and put an illuminated sign and say, council meeting tonight at 7:30, whatever meeting tomorrow night, blah, blah, blah. I think there's so much traffic up and down Ridge Road, and how many people really and truly look at the webpage. I don't. I'm not a computer person. I don't like it. And I don't know how many people actually look at that. But if we had a sign and they're going for gas or going to Publix or wherever they're heading, at least the people would see it both ways and say, wow, there's a council meeting tonight, or there's whatever meeting, Port Authority meeting, whatever. But at least it lets the people know. That's my request. I don't know how much that costs. We'd have to find out. Culver's, of course, is a nationwide company. I'm sure they get it for much less than we would, but I think it's worth looking into. I really do. And the second thing, I also mentioned it, I don't remember when, maybe last meeting. We have this waterfront park. It is no more waterfront than we are right here in this building, because you cannot see the waterfront. You don't appreciate that park that has restrooms staring you in the face as soon as you enter. You got a couple of little things for the young people, and you have nothing going on in that park. It's not even pretty. And I don't want to tap myself on the back, but I go down to Olsner Park. That is on the water, where I got the grant, and I go down to the park outside Sam Pebble, got a grant for that. That's a pretty park. Olsner is not only pretty, but there's the water. We used to call it Little Beach way back when I came to Port Ritchie in 1980, and then Sand Pebble in 86. Why can't we do something? Yes, we have the trust that says it has to be passive. I know, I lived through the letters back and forth from the trust saying it has to be a passive park. All I wanted one time was a little t-ball, and we couldn't even have a little t-ball park, for goodness sakes. Do something, please, with that park, please. Cut down the shrubs. You can go 6 feet for the mangroves. Do something to make it look like a park, please. That's the last time I will speak from here, but I will be in the audience. Thank you very much. It's certainly been a privilege.
Anybody have anything to add?
I'll just say thank you, Phyllis, and thank you, Bill,
Yes,
for serving
indeed.
time up here. You've done a wonderful job, really, and thank you for that.
Amen.
Phyllis, I too would like to say thank you ever so much for serving again this city, and it's been a pleasure. I'm happy to be able to have said I've served with you even for that short period of time.
Thank you.
And I do recognize what you've cared about this city for a very long time.
Oh, yes.
So,
Thank you. And I still.
and you still do, of course.
Still.
All righty.
She has a new shirt.
That being the case, and I'm sorry, did you want to add one?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second?
Second?
Okay, we have a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all so much. And thanks for all your help while I've been sitting in this chair.
Oh, thank you.